they will hide all of this stuff in plain sight. Whether or not this Wallace Shawn is a part of it or not, I do not know. But what I can tell you is when I flip the tab over, you're going to see him tell you the truth. Let's go ahead and flip over. So here he is, much younger. I would have only been a couple years old when he made this movie. I have not seen this movie, just this clip, but it's called My Dinner with Andre. That's what the top comment says. Well, it says it was released in 1980, so I wasn't even around yet. So let's go ahead and let's see what he has to say. This will explain boredom, propaganda, mind control. It's going to cover a lot of it. Take a moment and watch it. It's only about 3 minutes long. And I want you all to see this. And make sure you're walking with Christ. I want to say that in every video. I'm going to try and always say that. Let's go ahead and play it.
Why do you think that is? I mean, why is that? I mean, is it just because people are lazy today or they're bored? I mean, are we just like bored, spoiled children who've just been lying in the bathtub all day, just playing with their plastic duck, and now they're just thinking, well, what can I do? Okay, yes, we are bored. We're all bored now. But has it ever occurred to you, Wally, that the process that creates this boredom that we see in the world now may very well be a self-perpetuating, unconscious form of brainwashing created by a world totalitarian government based on money, and that all of this is much more dangerous than one thinks, and it's not just a question of individual survival, Wally, but that somebody who's bored is asleep, and somebody who's asleep will not say no? See, I keep meeting these people. I mean, just a few days ago, I met this man whom I greatly admire. He's a Swedish physicist, Gustav Bjornstrand, and he told me that he no longer watches television, he doesn't read newspapers, and he doesn't read magazines. He's completely cut them out of his life because he really does feel that we're living in some kind of Orwellian nightmare now, and that everything that you hear now contributes to turning you into a robot. When I was at Findhorn, I met this extraordinary English tree expert who had devoted his life to saving trees. Just got back from Washington, lobbying to save the redwoods. He's 84 years old. He always travels with a backpack because he never knows where he's going to be tomorrow. And when I met him at Findhorn, he said to me, "Where are you from?" And I said, "New York." He said, "New York, yes, that's a very interesting place. Do you know a lot of New Yorkers who keep talking about the fact that they want to leave but never do?" And I said, "Oh, yes." And he said, "Why do you think they don't leave?" I gave him different banal theories. He said, "Oh, I don't think it's that way at all." He said, "I think that New York is the new model for the new concentration camp, where the camp has been built by the inmates themselves, and the inmates are the guards, and they have this pride in this thing they built. They built their own prison, and so they exist in a state of schizophrenia, where they are both guards and prisoners, and as a result, they no longer have, having been lobotomized, the capacity to leave the prison they've made, or to even see it as a prison." And then he went into his pocket and he took out a seed for a tree and he said, "This is a pine tree." He put it in my hand and he said, "Escape before it's too late." See, actually for 2 or 3 years now, Chiquita and I have had this very unpleasant feeling that we really should get out. And we really should feel like Jews in Germany in the late 30s. Get out of here. Of course, the problem is where to go, because it seems quite obvious that the whole world is going in the same direction. See, I think it's quite possible that the 1960s represented the last burst of the human being before he was extinguished, and that this is the beginning of the rest of the future now, that from now on there'll simply be all these robots walking around, feeling nothing, thinking nothing, and there'll be nobody left almost to remind them that there once was a species called a human being, with feelings and thoughts, and that history and memory are right now being erased, and soon nobody will really remember that life existed on the planet. Why do you think that is? I mean, why?
So all those years ago, something like 40 years, and they were telling you what's going to happen. You are going to build your own prisons within these cities. And what are they doing now? Working on building 15-minute cities. Don't worry, you don't need to leave this city. Stay here. That way, we can pull a Maui on any town we want, because you are all stacked on top of each other. They are out for your destruction. And like he said, not Wallace, but the other fellow. Looks familiar, but I don't know who he is. But the other guy says something about being lobotomized. And he's not speaking literally. He's talking more of brainwashing. You will be brainwashed into thinking that it's okay. Everything is fine. But through trying to find an end to your boredom, you dive into these things that are useless, because in this secular world, that's all that there really is useless things. It's there to distract you and keep you from God. Make sure you seriously consider inviting Christ into your life, into your heart, into the world around you. Invite him in to walk with you in the world around you and break free from it. Once you do, you will realize what's really going on around you. That's why I was trying to be a regular YouTuber, but now I know that none of that has any true value. So make sure you get your heart right with God. All glory to Christ. And God bless all of you. I hope that if you are not right with God, that you will become so very soon. The end is very near. Again, all glory to Christ.